Hello, everyone. Welcome to our social channels. Martin with you today. Another interview regarding Meet the Team with Carbonetic. And today I have the pleasure to introduce you to our Chief Technology Officer at EthicStream, Mr. Geoff Fawkes. Geoff, how are you?
Fantastic, Martin. Thanks for taking your time to speak with me and talk to me about my background and my involvement with the EthicStream and other technologies I'm working with our teams.
Yes, since day one, like people who our viewers who watch actually our YouTube channel and our website, well, of course, they see most of the operators, including, the CEO of companies and such. Today is very interesting to me because we're going to be a little bit more into the data. We're going to go more into the technology side of things than being on the promoting side of things. So I'm very glad to have you on board. So, Geoff, first, where are you from and what's your background regarding your expertise?
Sure, Martin. So I'm Canadian background. Grew up in Vancouver, Canada, which is on the west coast. Early in my career, I was a software developer. Attended the University of British Columbia and studied computer science. Found I had a talent for developing software code and chose that as my career early on. I spent the early part of my career working in telecom for one of the largest telecom companies in the world, Newbridge Networks in Ottawa, and then Alcatel when they were acquired. Moving on from there, I decided that I also had a talent for managing teams and leadership and evolved and grew my career working at various levels of management for a number of other different companies, most of which that you've probably heard of. At HSBC Bank for a number of years, managing a number of internet banking projects and had my first foray into managing teams worldwide, not just technology professionals in Canada, but also in India, which is an area that especially in working with HSBC Bank helped me develop the cultural intelligence to work with different technology teams in that part of the world. Also complemented since I love the business of technology. Also did an MBA at another Canadian school, Simon Fraser University. So I feel I have a pretty good mix, Martin, with both the technical side of development and the business side of technical leadership. So there's a little bit, Martin, about my early days of my career.
Thank you for sharing. Yeah, and it's a great responsibility too, right? Because you're like in the core of everything of what Carbonetic Group is trying to accomplish, right? So on one end, just to give, I think a proper structure for our viewers today. On one end, we've got, the forest team, which are responsible to collect data using drone technology and all different layers of technology that we combine together. They have to validate with boots on the ground, actually, these data that they collect. But at the end of the day, that data, which is collected by the forest team, needs to be transformed into a digital twin, right? So we're going from the physical forest to go to a digital forest. And this is where that you and your team kicks in, correct?
That's correct. And what in my teams and as well as in the company, we always think about high quality carbon credits. So high quality means three things. Number one, we 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 in our company, we have our forestry operations team. We collect and we own the data. So that's number one. And when I say we own the data, it means we collect. We have the means with our teams to collect data uh, for our constituent customers, um, and that data is collected through lidar using our drone technology, which is laser scanning of the forestry canopy and surface. Number two, with that data, as you mentioned, Martin, we develop a digital twin, which also allows us to collect the information we need to calculate carbon in the forest. And in part two, what's really important there is transparency of the carbon credits. So at any point in time, we within the company or with our partners outside of the company always have a means to validate how we calculated the carbon. The detail of the digital twin provides provides anyone outside of the company or inside of the company a measure of how that data is represented. And then number three, the other aspect of high quality carbon credits is our machine learning area of the company. The data we collect can be sometimes what we call dirty, which means it is not precise. It may be through atmospheric conditions of the data collection, or the effect that has on our lidar. We need to clean it up, and how we clean up dirty data is we apply through our machine learning models um, an improvement on the precision of the data that we collect. So that is also in number three, that's a very important competitive differentiator, which we have.
Yeah.
In our machine learning team, we can further add to the high quality carbon credit by improving the accuracy of the data collected.
And this is big, right? So it's about the quality of the data itself, and after that it's how to populate it and also how to deliver it. So
Correct.
on that end, your team built a beautiful app
Yeah.
on Android and iPhone, so for delivering actually these data to the potential buyer of these
Yeah.
offsets, or CEOs or board of advisors who wants to show their investors what they've been buying.
Yeah.
On the other end, you've got the complexity of artificial intelligence, machine learning, as we understood.
Yeah.
But for Carbotenics, which are our company has a sales pipeline on the blockchain space, that data has also to be turned into smart contracts for programming, correct?
Correct. So Carbotanics is our product area where we provide a trading platform for our high quality carbon credits. And as we were talking about before, Martin, the word transparency permeates everything we do. We need to provide a traceability. We need to provide a feedback loop. We need to provide trust in our carbon credits and how we manipulate them. Uh, Carbotanics is just that. It's a trading platform between a buyer and a seller to support the manipulation and trading of carbon credits. And in this product, we architecturally decided that the best way to guarantee trust is through the transparency of the storage of our carbon credits through tokens on a blockchain, and that is what we've developed, a complete end-to-end system, not just for the trading of carbon credits, but also for the validation of the ownership, the transaction amount, um, the establishment of trust between the buyer and the seller on our Carbotanics platform.
And this is also true for EthicStream, right? Who's going to be the more conventional way, to do business, buying actually
Right.
offsets, for the benefit of emitters, but bringing actually the same transparency. Because at the end of the day, Geoff, I assume, you tell me if I'm wrong, but I assume that the data that you collect, that you want transparency and make sure that it's full, integrity packaged, goes on one side for carbotonics depending of the demand, and on the other hand same thing going with EthicStream. So you're building one package which is kind of a hybrid model fitting both markets,
Correct.
or if there's any difference in between the way it has to be wrapped for markets, or it's basically the same, you're collecting the same data, everything is centralized
Yeah.
from there, it goes to blockchain if needed, or it goes conventional the other direction for more conventional ways with EthicStream, right?
Correct. So our architecture, for a number of the people that are familiar, is Amazon AWS cloud based. So for our data on our front end, we store data in a database. As you mentioned, our blockchain infrastructure is supported by an independent third-party partner that we use. So when we need to validate the transactions and tokens in our system, we have a trusted partner to facilitate that. Being cloud based, our front end applications, as you mentioned, we support the presentation and functionality of our application in Android, iOS, and then conventional web browser based application. Uh, our architecture is very elegant in that we can present whatever data we store in whatever medium that we require across those three front ends. Ultimately, as we talked about in the journey of the data, collecting that data through our owned forestry operations team, through drone and lidar based cameras, is another core differentiator we have, because we can collect the data, we can analyze the data. We don't have to, while we can rely on a third party to collect some of our data, being able to collect data from the source and from our forests we collect from in Canada, we have an end-to-end view of the data, and can validate and improve upon how we collect data over time. And that having that end-to-end view of the data right from the collection in the forest, to that data making its way in its various forms to our trading platform and trading. We know exactly what's happening with the data, and again, we can provide visibility and, if required, auditing of that data, and ensure that it is as accurate as it can be.
When like you've been part of our team since basically close to the early stage of carbonetic, right? And so, of course, when we came with our ask as operators, and you understood what was the need that we wanted to deliver on the tech side of things, I'm pretty sure that the first thing you needed to do in your position was to go out and start looking at what other competitors do,
Yeah,
what the market look like. And, before you knew what was the mission and what was our goal, but you still needed to figure out what the others were making or doing first to understand exactly the value you want to you create compared actually to the market.
yeah.
So on that end, what was your first take when you started digging a little bit more about the carbon offset market? Because I'm pretty sure that was not something that you were already very comfortable with till you realized the reason why we wanted to solve such problems as transparency and integrity. So, what was your take when you joined the team first and you started looking at how the market behaved and how can we improve it?
So as a chief technology officer, starting a new project and product, while there's some technical aspects, selecting the architecture, hiring up the team, figuring out another important area, which is the budget, how much money we have to spend. I, I as a CTO, I want to create value for the company. So I've got to, obviously, I'm entrusted to spend the company money wisely. With any new product, which you tend to call a product 1.0, which is what we've done with Carbotanics, Woodlands.ai, in Carbon Ethic with as they relate to EthicStream. The first step is going out and doing a competitive analysis. Who else is who else is competing in this market? What's their business model? What's their technical infrastructure? What's their pricing model? These are common questions to ask, since when we in our company, when we developed a product, we want to enter that market with a product that's not just the same but better, competitively, and and I believe that's what we've done. And there are competitors in this space. That being said, from years ago to today, I believe we've evolved our products to have these unique competitive differentiator. Two of which is what we talked about, Martin, being the going right to the source of the data and owning the collection of the data, number one. And number two, the other competitive differentiator is our machine learning technology and Woodlands.ai. Those are very unique. So when we looked at our the competitive landscape for our the products out there and our competitors, we just didn't want to be a me too. We wanted to identify what they were doing and come out with what we believe their customers and our customers, if we can, when we gain market share, we'll look at the Carbon Ethic group for solutions in the area.
Yeah, I think that we've been, like when we see the news flying by of Shell board of directors being sued in Great Britain because of the lack of transparency in their climate change policies and all of this coming from, I mean, like there is so many news which identified, the lack of quality coming from especially the natural based solutions offsets. At least we were clear when we started that at one point emitters and all different kind of potential investors in such products, they wanted transparency and clarity and integrity, and this is what we are focusing on. So I'm very, very glad. Geoff, thanks again for the interview today. It gives a different perspective, which I'm very happy that the people can understand a little bit more the extensive work that needs to be done under the radar, because once again, most people don't see the amount of manpower required, especially to deliver technology. and this is your skill set, right? This is what you focus on. You focus on delivering value that most people don't really understand. I have to say. And to me, as probably for our most of our viewers, it's way clearer today, since you've been explaining how to accomplish it, how it has to be circulated, in the between different infrastructures and companies that we have put in place. So, Geoff, thanks again for your time, and thanks again for your information explanations this morning. It's great.
You're welcome, Martin. Thank you for spending your time with me. Happy to speak again in the future.
Absolutely. Let's have a good 2023. I think that we are in a good position and it's just starting. So, thanks, Geoff. Talk to you later.